Well, welcome back to Operation GameCube, the channel where I attempt to rebuild my GameCube collection from my childhood for no money out of pocket, for reasons I detail back in Chapter 1. And you're on the walking path with me here down to my basement where I keep all of my resale DVDs and video games from the last two chapters. And I think this is the end of that kind of 3-chapter series on reselling, because what's left, and I'll turn the camera around so you can see, what's left just isn't selling, and you can see there's quite a bit, certainly of DVDs, and there is a decent little stack of video games left. And you know, I am not collecting PlayStation 3 or Xbox One, nor am I returning to the early thousands with a DVD collection, so it's time to liquidate these things and get whatever dollars I can out of a GameStop or half-price books and close out my resale chapter. But before I do so, I actually have one last resale outlet I think I can squeeze a few decent dollars out of, and I'm going to turn my attention to my Nintendo 64. And look, I understand. If you saw Chapter 1, you're probably thinking, Max, how could you be selling your N64 games? Selling your GameCube was how you got into this predicament. Well, here, let me give you a look here. This is my N64 collection, and it's probably 30-ish games deep. And I am not looking to sell any game like Super Mario 64 that I'm still playing, Majora's Mask, which, you know, I played back in the day and would love to play again, or even games like this, NFL Quarterback Club, which, you know, I played quite a bit as a kid, have no real plan to play again, but I have fond memories of. Any game like that, I'm leaving it alone. But games like this, Turok or War Gods, you know, these are games that I've owned for the better part of 3 decades, have never played, or if I've played, didn't enjoy, and I've just held on to them. And you know, the way I'm looking at it, I'm focused on creating a curated GameCube collection, just 20 games. And this N64 collection's got about, when I counted it, 7 or 8 games that fall into that category, like War Gods, that I just don't care about, don't really know why I own it, and if someone else can enjoy it and get a few bucks back in my pocket to turn it into a GameCube game or two, it just seems like a win-win. So let's go ahead and get these cartridges cleaned, because they literally have about 3 decades of dirt and grime caked on them. Get them posted, sell them, and then focus on liquidating whatever else I have lying around in that basement, DVDs, games. We're getting out of the resale business. We're counting our cash. We're buying a few games, and we're seeing how close we are to the end of Operation GameCube. Foster, do you want to help me?
Yeah.
So what am I doing?
Help me.
I'm cleaning video games.
Okay.
You see this one?
Yeah.
How clean does that look?
So clean.
Is it because I cleaned it?
Yeah. I'll do the one.
You want to do one?
Yeah.
Do you see this one?
Yeah.
How clean is that?
Not clean.
Not clean. It's dirty, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where's it dirty?
Right here.
Right there. Do you want to help me clean it? Okay.
No, I'll do it myself.
You want to do it yourself?
I know all of the dirties.
Can I teach you how?
Yeah.
Okay. Dip it in some alcohol. Dip it in the alcohol. Perfect. Great. And now start rubbing. Start rubbing it on the dirties. Rub it on the dirties.
Rub, rubs. Rub, rub, rub. Rub, rub, rub. I don't think it's coming off.
I think you got a lot. Look at the pad. Is the pad dirty?
No.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
You got a lot. Keep going. Go real hard on the dirty part. Where's the dirty part?
Right here.
Yeah, go real hard. Yeah. Yeah. Do you want some help from Daddy?
No.
You want to keep doing it? You got it. Keep going. You're doing it, honey.
I need another one.
You need another pad?
Yeah.
Well, that was pretty successful. 7 of the 8 games sold, except for War Gods. I guess no one really wants that game. I'm stuck with that for a little while longer. But we got close to about 90 bucks all told, I think. Haven't tallied it up completely, but they are all packaged up. Gonna go mail that. Won't make you watch me do that again, as you've seen in chapters 12 and 11. But we're going to get these shipped out, and then we're going to turn our attention over to the remainder of the DVDs and the games sitting in my basement. As I said, we're getting out of the resale business here. We're going to squeeze every last penny we can get. We will take literal pennies for those games and DVDs if stores like GameStop or Half Price Books are willing to give them to me. We're going to end up at Goodwill if we have to dump them off. We are getting, like I said, out of the business here on Chapter 13. Let's clear the slate, let's count the dollars, and let's see where we sit with just a handful of games to go.
Just drove up to the video game store.
Yes, and we've liquidated all of our DVDs, a grand total of $19. And I'm a man of my word. Take this 10, Mother.
Oh, thank you.
That's your half of the DVD liquidation. I probably owe you another 60 or so for the actual sales that we've had success with, but we're officially done. There were a few they wouldn't take, including an Agnes of God, which appears to have been stolen from the library there, Mother. So would you like to explain what happened there?
Well, sometimes the library puts out a bunch of video games or
Yeah.
videos.
See, a likely story, yeah.
That you can just have.
Oh, sure. Okay. So we stole from the library, and video games, etc., would not take it from us.
Well, they're very ethical.
Yeah, they are.
Sounds like.
Yeah, they're good people. So, hey, we're officially out of the video game and DVD resale business, and we're each about $10 richer.
2 coffees.
2 coffees. There you go. Success. And just like that, I'm out of the resale business, at least for now. I've liquidated all of my DVDs, my video games, and all 8 of those N64 games that I identified as excess in my collection have all sold, including War Gods. So, hey, it was fun. I made a lot of money. We will tally it up at the end, but before we do that, we should spend some of it. And we're going to take not 1, but 2 big bites out of the games list, and let's start it off with a game that, frankly, I'm surprised we are this late in the game before we buy it. And that, my friends, is Super Smash Bros. Melee. Now, this game is, top 3 GameCube games of all time. Obviously, everyone has their favorite Smash Brothers on their Nintendo console of choice, but I think a lot of people feel like Melee is the best. It certainly is a seismic step forward from the original on the N64. You know, my memories of this game are just as much single player as they are multiplayer. Obviously, the multiplayer is phenomenal and a wonderful time, but this was a really full game. I remember playing this as a kid, enjoying the adventure mode, enjoying all of the challenge stages. Even things like the trophy collection was a fun little gimmick that made it, gave you that benefit for just doing things in the game. You got these coins that you could trade in for trophies, and you could see, little kind of character models on this trophy from throughout the Nintendo universe and read about them. And that was just a fun little gimmick. It's a really full game. Obviously, a huge step forward in the fighting mechanics and the character roster from the original. Not maybe as complete as Smash Ultimate is on the Switch, but pound for pound, I think this is as good a Smash game as there is, and I'm super jazzed to own it. And if you've been looking at these pictures closely, you might see a little bit of a visual quirk on this one. It's a not for resale copy. That's kind of fun. For those of you who don't know what a not for resale copy is in the world of video games, it's not super common, but it's by no means rare. Lots of games have not for resale versions or variants that you can find in the wild, and it usually was a version of a game that was bundled with a console for sale. So, midway through a console's life cycle, you might start seeing bundles where you buy the GameCube or, whatever system, and it comes with a game. It was very common for not for resale to get put on those iterations of the game so that, shady retails don't break apart the packages and sell them independently, I guess. You also might see that on demo kiosk versions. Anyways, just a fun quirk, right? It's not necessarily a more valuable copy, although price charting shows that these are usually priced a smidge higher than standard copies. So, that's kind of fun. And I actually got this for a pretty good deal. I was able to pick this one up for $62.50 all in, taxes, shipping, etc. that's not bad for Smash Melee. These things are going in that $70, $75, even $80 range, with taxes and fees and what have you on average. So I feel pretty good about that. I'm excited with this pickup, and I'm excited to be able to add it to the collection. So let's bring up that games list and fill it in. But we're not done with Super Smash Bros. Melee on this episode. We are going to purchase a second game off the games list, and this time we're going to go to the Cult Classic Wildcard category, and we're buying Beautiful Joe to fill that spot. Now, Cult Classic, my definition of it was a game that is revered and beloved by collectors of a video game system. It is likely highly regarded and well reviewed, but it's in a kind of an isolated pocket in time, right? You can look at a game like Super Mario Sunshine and say, well, that's kind of weird and bizarre and not like your traditional Mario, but it's still a mainline series Mario game. Mario is ubiquitous to gamers far and wide for the last 35, 40 years. No game in the world of Mario is a cult classic, but Beautiful Joe, I think, is that perfect example of a game that fits that category, because frankly, Beautiful Joe is a franchise, it's a star that burned hot and fast. It had 4 games released from 2003 through 2005, so in just two and a half years, 4 games were released, 3 on the GameCube, kicked off with this one, and then a handheld game. And then it was done, never to be seen again. And so for, video game players, even, 20-year-old, 25-year-old video game players who've loved video games and just played kind of current systems forward, this name may mean nothing to them. But you cannot look at a top 10 games list for the GameCube and not see Beautiful Joe on that list. And I'll be honest with you, I haven't played it. I've played games very similar. It's kind of a 2D platforming, side-scrolling, cartoony, violent, beat-em-up style game. I don't have a game like that on the games list, so I'm excited to have that variant of gameplay available to me. But I wanted my games list to have some of the new, some of the unknown. Resident Evil 4 is that for me. I didn't play that game as a kid, and I was able to pick that up on this games list. And so Beautiful Joe feels very much like that opportunity to explore something I didn't get to play. Again, it's extremely well revered and regarded, and I'm jazzed to be able to pick it up. It is a pricey game, not as pricey as Melee, and the copy I got, while it's very complete, it looks very clean, I was able to pick it up for just over $30, about $33.20. So I think I got a pretty good deal on that one as well. Let's bring up the games list. Let's fill in that category. And that right there, I think, is our 15th game, 15 out of 20. We have just 5 left to go. And so while these 2 games took out about $90-some from the budget, there's still a lot of money remaining. Here's the numbers breakdown. Before I bought these 2, my budget was over $500 available. Those video game DVD and then the N64 resale really have been a boom. And I now sit, after these 2 were purchased, with a budget of $421 and some change. Is that enough to close out Operation GameCube? I've got 5 games remaining. Some of them are pricey. You'll notice Wind Waker is sitting up there on that games list, and that one is pricey. But I've got a lot of money. I've got 5 games left. And while I don't know if that is enough money to buy everything I need to buy, I do know that the very next episode of this is going to be a shopping spree. And I have one challenge for myself. I'm not going to buy all 5 games in person. It's impossible to find those 5 games in person. But I am going to end this challenge buying at least 1 game from a store. All of these games have been bought online. It's just the reality of where I live and collecting GameCube games today. But I need that experience of walking into a store, probably overpaying, but paying for a game in person like I did as a kid. So in the next chapter, let's go shopping. Let's go game hunting. Let's try to find a game in the wild and see if we can, dare I say, close out the games list here on Operation GameCube.